Hello everyone, this is the Paper Princess, and in my previous video we constructed the base album, and this is going to be our Fairy Wings, Graphic 45 Fairy Wings album. So this is an 8-page album, so there's 4 hinges, double-sided paper, and just as soon as I finish up this, we'll be making our first pocket page. So when you have your book here, I just want to take my bone folder and right in the crease, I'm going to just press right here. That's right on top of the hinge has a little piece on each side, about 1.5 inches at least on each side. And I'm going to put my fold in there so I can fold the book. And you'll hear that sound a little in the beginning, but that's okay. What I want to do here, before we start putting pages in, I need to cover this area right here. Because as you put the pages in, they sort of would get stuck on this lip. So I don't want a lip right there. I'm going to take a piece of paper and put it right in here. So what do I have there? I have a little ink or something. Let me see if that comes off real quick. If not, I'll cut another piece of paper. Huh. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. So let's just cut that piece. Let's take out our cutter, and we're going to cut 2 pieces at 8 3/4 by 8. So I need 2 pieces of that. So 8 3/4 by 8. And save your scraps because this would be perfect for a flap. You never know. They come in handy. Let's do another one. Quarters by 8. So these are going to be going right over here like that. And what I do for these is I do use score tape. So put this aside for a second. And let's put score tape all the way around. I just want to make sure I have another roll here. Yes, I do. I would hate to run out right in the middle of doing this. And when I decorate the pages, I use my regular tape runner when I put the paper on top of these. But I use the score tape when I construct the layout of the book and all the flaps and stuff. So, all right, let's put this on the back cover. And later on, at the end, we're going to put a pocket on top of this because it's a nice storage space to have. If you have brochures or pamphlets or whatever, it's nice to have a pocket on the inside to put things. So I am just going to eyeball this. You definitely, here's your crease right here where the book folds. So you want to be in from that and eyeball from there to the edge of the book. It looks like it's about 1/2 inch. And same at the top and bottom. everything looks straight, and I will just put that there. It's looking good. And then we'll do the same thing to the front. And I'm taping the flat side, so our nice linen side will be showing. Here's my little tool here. A little piece of tape sticking out. I'm going to tuck that in. All right, and now our book is finished. But before we put that away, let's make our first pocket page. And let me do this. We want to make our first one before we make all the rest so that I can put it on top of this hinge and make sure it's the right size. So I'm going to take out 2 pieces of paper and cut them at 8.5 and 7 3/4. So, let me see here. This piece might work. I have a leftover piece. Okay, so I'm going to cut it 9.5 by 7 3/4. Now this is not going to fit, so I'll use a brand new piece of paper. And I want to cut 2 pieces at 9.5 by 7 3/4. And when I find that this works, I can do the rest of them. So I would cut 6 more after that. This is really not wide enough to do a whole lot with, so I don't need to save that one. By 7 3/4. Why was that not cutting? Huh, okay. One piece, do it again. Nine and a half by 7 3/4. Okay, so I have 2 pieces, and we're going to score these, so I need my scorer again. And we will score a 1/2 inch with the 9.5 inch side running across the top of either your scoreboard or your score runner. So the short side is going to have a score line on it. Do it again. And when I'm making these score lines, I'm always having the flat side up so that my raised bumpy side is on the linen side. And that side will be showing. So let's take these 2 pieces and put a run of score tape across the bottom. don't know if you can see me here. Let me tilt. Okay. Oh, I had exactly enough tape. Yeah, that I just ripped off. Okay. Gotta open up another roll. I was just shy a little piece here. Okay. All right, and then we'll fold these. Okay. So, the same way that when we constructed our album, we had that little extender piece on top and folded it over. Just pick a piece, any piece, and you're gonna put this taped side on the top with the non-taped side, and peel this off and put it down the same way that we did when we made our outside covering of the book. Okay, so let's get this out of the way a little. I'm going to get my book out of the way a little, and then we will bring it back and test it and make sure that this pocket page fits. Okay. So I'm putting this right up against here, and I'm lined up on this side. I don't see the table. I know these two papers are flush up against each other. I'm just going to put this down. Come over to here. And put that side down. Okay. And then what we do is we'll fold this over and just put this down over here. So the first one's always the easiest because we know that's lined up. But let's just take this right here. I'm going to hold that down, and I'm going to do one corner at a time. So I'm just going to line up this corner piece right here and just press that down. And just slide this tool down here, and this edge of the paper is right up against the edge of that pocket page, and that lays down. And there, you see a little bit of bubbly here. That's okay. We will take our bone folder and press this down, flatten it a little, and that is it. We have a pocket page. But let's make sure before we cut 6 more pieces of paper and make 3 more pockets, you got to make sure this fits. So I'm going to put this, pick a hinge, any hinge on here, and when I close the book, this page comes right about, you have a little bit of space. I will tell you exactly. It comes to about here, and that is about an inch. And the reason for that is we're going to have a pull-out over here that sticks out about 1/2 inch, and it'll be a photo mat sticking out of this pocket. So that fits perfectly. It looks good, and we can now make the rest of them. So you can hit pause and make the rest, or make them as you go, either way. This we won't need till the end when we put all our 4 pocket pages on the hinges. And that's when I have tape on here, but I'm also gonna run a string of the glitter glue on each side, and then these pages won't be going anywhere. I did also cut a little angle at the top and bottom, and it will help you fit your page on top. So that we won't need again till the end. If you want to put the pages on there and work with it in the book, some people do that. I find it easier just to work on the page outside of the book and then put it in, but that's up to you. So we're going to get going with page 1. So for consistency, you never want to work on one page and accidentally somehow make it upside down and the other page is upside down. That would be terrible. So what I do is I stick a 1 up here. I know that I'm working on page 1, and before I even work on page 2, I'm going to flip it like I am in flipping the book, and I'm going to put my 2 right there in the beginning, and then I know I won't have an upside down issue when I work on page 2. So for page 1, this is not bad. I have 3 cuts here. So flap A is going to be 7.5 by 7. Flap B is 7.5 by 6.5. And C is a pocket 8 5/8 by 4 1/4. So I do have a fair amount of these 5/8 things, and that's because I need a little bit of space on each side of the pocket. So if I give you a 5/8 measurement, that really is just 2 lines after 8.5. So you can find 8.5 on your ruler here and just go 2 lines over, and that will be 8 5/8. And I also wrote that under description. I have the entire cut list under the description of the walkthrough of this project, but for page 1, I will also put page 1 instructions underneath under description as well. But if you want to see it all at a glance, go to the walkthrough and print out that whole cut list. Okay, so let's put the pocket page aside for a second, and we're going to score these flaps. So, flap A, we'll do that first. Flap A, we're going to score a 1/2 inch with the 7-inch side facing the top. So that would be this side just by eyeballing it, but it doesn't hurt to double check. Okay, so the 7-inch side runs across the top of either your scoreboard or this score runner. B is going to be scored a 1/2 inch with the 6.5 inch side facing the top. And C is our pocket. So whenever you have a pocket, you want to start with your side that's going to be open, and this is going to be a horizontal pocket, so the longer side will be open. Let's start with that longest side facing the top of your score. And then we're going to go around and score on 3 sides. So one's here, one's across the bottom, and then once again on the short side. Okay. And now we will tape these. I think this is that silver pen. I'm going to have to use something else, but that's going to be covered up. You don't have to put the measurements. Just mark with a pencil A, B, C, and that's all you need to do. I just wrote these here for you so you can see it, but it's not working out. It's coming off on my paper. So that will be covered, but I will have to figure out something else for you to see these cuts. Okay. And my tear tool. I'm sure it's under here somewhere. Where did it go? Well, like I said, you can also use a ruler. We'll do that. There it is. Found it. Okay. I swear I should wear an apron and put all the things in the pockets, because they're always underneath paper and things on my table here. Okay, so don't cut that yet. I'm going to show you something. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen me cut pockets before, but I will show you what I do. All right, let's press this down. Okay. All right, now before I fold this pocket, what I want to do is at the corners, and this will make it easier. When I place this on the pocket page, you want to be able to slip your paper underneath and not have to fuss with it. So by doing this little trick, it will make life easier for you. You just cut yourself the first cut all the way to that where those two score lines cross, turn out your scissors and keep going. So you have a little, like a Pac-Man mouth there. Then I can fold these. And it really does make it easier when you place this pocket down, because by having that cut, this flap will stick to that one. And it's just, you won't have to fiddle so much. Okay, and then we'll do this one. All right, so let's bring out our pocket page. Got one up in the left-hand corner, and flap A is going to be a right flap. So it's going to be on this side, and let's see, I'm going to use, hold on one second. All right. Let's take off this tape. And what I'd like to do for this flap is I want to have just a little bit of space at the top and more space at the bottom. So things don't always have to be in the center. And with the paper, you'll want to see the pretty paper underneath here a little more. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting this down with the non-sticky side so I can move it left to right. This is our bottom because my one is up there, and I want to leave about an inch and just leave a little bit of space at the top. And what you do here is you've slowly got it lined up here. When you've got it lined up, I'm keeping it straight with my fingers right here. I'm going to take my thumbs and feel where the edge of this flap is and where the edge of my pocket page is. And when I touch them with my thumbs, I can feel that they're lined up and down so that I am right to the edge. And then I just slowly put it down. And I know that it is right there on the edge because I felt it right here. Okay, there's that. If you want, you can decide if you want a corner round or not. It's up to you. So let's put our other flap here on the other side. So B goes on the left-hand side. And this I want to be lined up here. So I'm lining this up over top, tuck it under, and then I'm going to guide it down again with my thumbs. I'm looking at the top, looking side to side. It is lined up right over top of this flap. And there we go. Okay. Voila. So now the pocket. See, this page really isn't too bad. It's just got a couple of flaps and a pocket. I'm just taking off the bottom. Leave the tape backing on the sides. And then I can press that down. See our little funny cut there? It helps this stay down without taking this off. because when I put it down, you will see, basically I want to leave a little bit of space on my left and right, little bit of space. You don't want to go right on top of this score line because you want, let me pull this down. You want this flap to go over top of your pocket. So you're just leaving a little bit of space on both sides, and then you're feeling again with your thumbs, and you're going right to the edge, the bottom of this pocket page. It moved a little, no big deal. Another reason why you just want to take off one piece, I didn't press it down, so this is going to be easy peasy to lift up. The other advantage to this, cutting it this way, is that you can move it around. You only have one piece that's sticky. So let me look again, keep a closer eye on it. Left and right, I've got a little bit of space, and then I'll put it down. There we go. Okay. Now I am happy with that. And that way, when we're ready to put our paper back here, you'll put that first and then lift off the backs of this glue and put it down. Okay, so that's gonna look like that. And let's put down some magnets. Oh, this is the first time I'm using that silver pen, and boy, I guess it stays wet a while, so it's leaving marks, but it erases. So there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna put some magnets down. And what I use here, I use basic gray. I get them in bunches, so it's not that bad for me, but I use the small ones. If you want, you can order magnets on Amazon in bulk. They won't have the sticky, but that's okay. You can put the little piece of your tape on the side that you want to stick down. So you can do it that way. But just make sure they're not too thick. These are nice and thin. So you can experiment and try different types of magnets. And if you find some that work, boy, you use those and buy them in bulk. Okay, so I'm going to first put my magnets on the A flap, and I'm going to put 2 on the edges. If I put one in the middle, it kind of just winds up there, and sometimes this curls up. So let me put 2 on the edges. And just as a rule, so I know whether I use positive or negative, I usually put the positive one down first and then put the negative, and then I always know which is positive and which is negative. I know the positive is on the flap and the negative is wherever it lands when I turn the flap over. So let me just show you that real quick. I got my light in the way here. Okay. Now, I'm going to take, you can either use 1/4 inch or 3/8, but I'm going to take a little piece of this score tape and tape my magnet down. You just don't want that moving around after you already have your beautiful paper here. You don't want magnets floating around your book. And plus it holds your paper down extra tight, you know, right at the edge. So, all right, so then I use a negative. Put it right on top of there. Take this backing off. All right, a little bit. Scooch that tape over that I lifted up. Okay. Now I'm going to hold down my pocket. Put this paper up. Actually, if you want to corner around, you might want to corner around before. It's a little easier. I can do it afterwards, but there, I'm going to put that down and then lift up, and there are my magnets. So I know they're lined up. And I'll tape those down. I am going to corner around this. I will try to do that first next time before we put the magnets, but I am using this We Are memory keepers, and it's got 3 different sizes. So sometimes I like, this is the smallest. This one is the one on the right hand side is the one I probably most commonly use, and then a real wide one here. If you're using like the wide graphic 45 tags, this is the, you know, the angle of it. So I do use that. So that is down, and now I want to put magnets here. I am not going to be corner rounding this. You can if you want to, but we're going to have our fairy sitting here, and her wing is going to be sticking out over here. So you can if you want to, but I think I'm going to leave that the way it is. So let's put the magnet on. Usually these side-by-side door flaps, I like to have one on the top and bottom. Okay, why this one's not coming off so easily. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it does have sticky on one side, but this is just extra precaution. And then we'll take the negative and do that. Pull it over and press it down. And that is it. This really wasn't too bad, but it's a beautiful page with that fairy. So if you're making this album and you're not using the fairy paper, which I won't be for the bonus album, you don't have to worry, you know, about that extra cutout piece, but I will show you what I did for that. If you have whatever paper you're using and something just works out that you have a piece that would look cool if it stuck out, like maybe a gear or whatever would stick out here, you can make a piece stick out. It adds a cool touch. So let me show you what I did to decorate this. So normally I'll make a page and then show you what papers I used, and then in the next video we'll make page 2 and I'll show you what papers we use. So you don't have to keep flipping back and forth to the walkthrough. Okay, so for page 1, we have our little fairy sitting here. This is the main page of that, you know, of this collection, and I put her here, and I made a cut right below her toe right here so I can make sure she fits on. And what I do, let me grab a piece of paper. Hold on. Where did I put her with that paper? Hold on a second. I will try to find my paper collection. Here it is. Okay. So basically, let's just take this cover piece. For example, I will put the fairy here and make a pencil mark right below her toe, and that's where I make my first cut. And then I take that paper, put it on this flap, and put another little pencil mark. And rather than saying, oh, you know, this flap is, you know, 7.5 by 7, and trying to figure out how to cut this paper, don't worry about exact measurements and numbers. Do it with a pencil. Take your paper, put it to the edge, make a pencil mark where you want to cut that and then put the other pencil mark where you want to cut. It just works out easy. I make these little thin lines. You can make your border as thick or thin as you want. This is a real skinny. I just like it that way, but whatever you're used to. And when you get to the wing here, you just want to cut around her wing and that goes over top. So I am going to put this here. I'm going to make my cut right here and then cut down and around, and my other cut down here to make it land there. I hope I'm making sense. So you have this wing sticking out, and then what you want to do is take a piece of black, you got a scrap. I know there's a fair amount of fussy cutting in this page, in this album. Not terrible, but there's a little. And you just take a black piece, glue it underneath here, and just fussy cut following along what you just cut for her wing. And that's how I get that black piece there. I just stuck a piece underneath on the other side of this flap. Okay, I hope that makes sense. That's all I did there. That was the only complicated thing. Everything else on this page is pretty easy. So I used the bubble paper here, and that way you don't have to cover this up. She's too pretty to cover up. You can put a picture here and here. This is from the Patterns and Solids, same here, and same underneath there. I put this beautiful flower paper here because that is what's sticking out, and it matches here. And at the end, don't do it now, but you'll have these ephemera cards. You can just put them onto a piece of paper, and so this sticks out. You can do that and make a photo mat, or take the ephemera card and make a little booklet. So what I do for those, let's see. I just take the ephemera card the same way, and with a pencil, I mark, you know, put the ephemera card down, mark right here where I'm going to score it first, fold it over, and then cut whatever's on the edge. That's really basically how I do that. So that is it for page 1. What I did here, I have a pullout, and so basically cut 4 of these pullouts because there's 4 pocket pages. And let me get the exact measurement for you. Where did I have this on my cut list? But let me measure it for you real quick. I don't know where I wrote that. This photo mat is 7.5 by 8 5/8. So that 8 5/8 is 2 lines after 8.5 by 7.5, and that fits right in here. I use the other side of this paper is this paper, and it makes a beautiful photo mat. So that is it for page 1. In the next video, we are on to page 2. See you soon.